Welcome to this independence celebration of Huntersville Council. This was a battle we had to win. It was a battle about democracy. It was a battle about independence. The outcome we fought shoulder to shoulder to achieve was a simple one: that the Huntersville community maintain the right to determine its own future. And importantly today, all councillors live in the area that they make decisions about. That's a huge achievement. Congratulations. Tonight we also welcome our nearest neighbours and our friends, the Mayor of Lane Cove, Pam Palmer. Welcome, Pam. And the Mayor of Ryde, Jerome Laxale. Thank you for coming. They fought alongside our council every step of the way. Also just joining us this evening is the Mayor of Mosman, Carolyn Corrigan. Welcome. Emeritus Mayor Peter Adelson, Mosman Council. So Richard Quinn.
Thanks very much, Mark. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be very brief because we will have a number of people speaking tonight, but I just want to say this to you. On this day, exactly 1 year ago, two things happened. Number one, I received a letter from the local government minister, Gabriel Upton, advising that the New South Wales government would not be pursuing the merger of Huntersville. That was the first thing. And the second thing that happened on this day was the handing down of the judgment of the New South Wales Court of Appeal, which found that the merger proposal of Huntersville, Lane Cove and Ryde was invalid and was not going to proceed. So this day, the 31st of July, is etched in my memory, and I won't ever be forgetting it. But I think it's also important that none of us forget this day, and that we continue to mark this day well into the future, because after all of us have moved on to our eternal reward, others need to be reminded of this battle, and indeed all of the other battles that have gone on in previous decades. We mustn't forget it. We must keep the memory alive. And as Mark has said, our position as a council from day one was that the merger should not proceed without community support by way of a plebiscite or some other way of the community saying exactly how they should be governed. We were consistent in that position from day one, and ultimately I think we all know that position ended up being the winning position. So whilst we can gather here today and we can celebrate 1 year on from that victory, I don't think we should gloat. I think we should be vigilant, and we must make sure that we are not put in this position again, and we continue to maintain that as a community. As Mark said at the beginning, that this community should have a direct say in how it's governed, not Macquarie Street telling us how we should be governed. So folks, I'll finish by saying that let's always remember this day, the 31st of July, Hunters Hill Day, and as we move on to future battles and future endeavours, that we all have this day etched into our psyche and our future corporate memory of this wonderful suburb. Thank you.
I was a councillor for the 5 years up until the 31st of July last year, and I watched as the staff worked very hard every week to produce documentation to fight the battle. I watched the work go into the Fit for the Future campaign, really, and is filling out forms week after week after week. And there was nobody in our council, nobody, that worked harder than our General Manager, Mr. Barry Smith. And that's why we've asked Mr. Smith to speak tonight. Barry Smith.
Well, thanks, Mark. I have to say that I can't do these things alone, but just picking up on a point that Richard made, 27th of July, 31st of July, these really are milestone dates. They should never be forgotten in the history of this municipality, as from our point of view, or the staff's point of view, and I guess from the community, because it brought to the end a long and arduous campaign to maintain the independence of council. The amount of council staff, effort and time to prepare, respond to the many submissions, requests for information, community engagement, legal proceedings over the period that just can't be quantified. Suffice to say that it was significant, and many of us are still suffering what has now become known in our industry as merger fatigue. I'd particularly like to acknowledge my wonderful and dedicated staff, whose efforts just can't be spoken. I cannot speak highly enough. I think the true mark of the dedication of our staff, your staff, was that during this time period, we were, as far as I know, the only potentially emerging council who had a staff turnover of 0.
First of all, I'd really like to thank the staff, as Barry has mentioned. The staff had a tremendously difficult task and came to work not knowing whether they would be coming to work the next day for how long? 12 months? Anyway. Forever. Forever. The staff and our legal team deserve our grateful thanks. First for their solidarity, their loyalty and the work that they put in. Please give them a round of applause. I'd also like to thank the councillors because can you imagine, had they not voted to keep on with the fight, we would not be in this position today. So thank you. There are some councillors here. Thank you so much for sticking with it, fighting. I know it cost us some money, but we are getting some money back and it is so worthwhile. Always aim for the best. Never give in.
The next speaker was co-convener of the Save Hunters Hill Municipality with Ross Williams, and Ross and Phil did a terrific job during the campaign, week after week, month after month, kept us honest. The thing I remember most about Phil Jenkins coming along and saying was, "We will win this." It's not quite how he said it. I think he said, "We will win this." So Phil Jenkins.
A big thank you to the Mayor, Mark Bennett, the council, councillors of the present and last council, former Mayor Richard Quinn, General Manager Barry Smith, the staff, council lawyers. Council lawyers did a great job, I can tell you. Also, this is very much a thank you to the Hunters Hill community. Ross Williams has been mentioned, co-convener. All the members and supporters of Save Hunters Hill. And SOC. SOC played a very strategic role in this battle as well. This 31st of July is indeed a very significant day for the reasons that Richard talked about. This successful battle needs to be recognised, valued and celebrated, and the true history must be told. Must be told. This day also needs to be inclusive and all-embracing of this community. Governments come and go. Back in 2003, we were facing Labor, who were in power, when we fought off that merger attempt. In the last few years, it's been the Liberal National Party. But whoever's in power, we were fighting against forced amalgamations, the policy. That's what we were fighting against. It wasn't a political party, or one political party or another. It's against the policy that they had adopted at that time. Now, What does this day mean going into the future? If it is called Hunters Hill Day, and I think, Richard, that is a great idea, you raised that in the council meeting the other day. If it is called Hunters Hill Day and underneath that celebrating our local identity and independence, then our identity actually means community, it means our history, it means our heritage, and it means our sense of belonging to place. The word independence, it covers local democracy, and it covers what we really fought for, which was our right to elect our own representative for our area. So Hunters Hill Day is something, in my view, that should be celebrated. Indeed, Mark, the council, in a sense, recommended that at the last council meeting, that it take place on this day because of its significance. For every year at the end of July going forward, and that the suggestion is that we call it Hunters Hill Day. I certainly support what Richard, what you raised at that meeting. I think for at least one day we should concentrate upon how important local democracy is, how important our identity is. Just one day, because if we don't, we may have to face this all again. And I will tell you, I do not want to face it all again. We must as a community combine and make sure that no government in the future ever dares to take us on again. Thank you very much.
There was another very important player in this battle, and that was the TWT. Thank you, John Booth. John provided a very pointy end which was directed firmly at the government. It made them feel very uncomfortable. It had damaged their reputation in New South Wales dramatically, and they suffered a few major defeats at that time. I think your work, John, was brave, fearless, and it certainly went a long way to helping us win this battle. Thank you very much.
We're going to finish off on a high note with Michael Allen. Over to you, Michael.
This is a special place, a place with history, a place where waters meet and people meet, a close community. We want to keep this place a place of peace and care, where children sail and ride and run and play. This is a special place, a place with history, a place where waters meet and people meet, a close community. We want to keep this place a place of peace and care, where fig trees spread, where possums hide, where sailboats tilt, where ferries glide, a special place for you and me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael. That was absolutely brilliant.
3 cheers for Hunters Hill. Hip hip. Hooray! Hip. Hooray! Hip hip. Hooray!
Local government must be free of politics. We as councillors can only serve one master, and that master can only be the residents of Hunters Hill. Thank you for your support. Have a good night. If you'd like to stay for dinner, we'd love to have you. Cheers.
Come on, Rick.
Okay, Greg, come on.
I want to serve dinner.
I've learned to be patient.
Come on, Greg.
Okay.